Yeah, so today I was at the store, right? And I saw this lady who I haven't seen in such a long time, like maybe I don't even know, a year or something. I don't know. But I ran into her and we started talking, like asking like how has each other been and things like that, right? And she's talking to me and she's sharing with me like how her family member like had like Lord help me, because I don't want to tell her business, but I want to tell of your goodness. Anyway, so something happened to her family member, like a whole bunch of things were going on, and so much so that she had to go to the hospital and stuff like that. And so, in her going to the hospital, um, the doctors can't seem to figure out what's wrong, okay? And so she was like, yeah, they done ran tests, all this, that, and the third, but they can't figure out what's wrong. And I say to her, like, well, it's spiritual. That's why they can't figure it out. And she was like, yeah, I mean, it's something. I said, no, it's spiritual. Like, that's the thing. It's a spiritual thing. And so then after that, like, I just started telling her, like, this is what you got to do, like what you need to do. And so I start telling her, like, you need to do this, and it's all led by the Spirit of the living God, okay? Because I don't know nothing unless the Lord tells me, because she didn't give me, like, enough information for me to just be telling her these things. Like, this is literally the kindness of the living God. And so I start telling her these things, and then the Lord reveals to me like one of the ways He speaks to her. And so I like asked her like about a gift, and I was like, "Do you da 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 da?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, that's what the Lord is saying." And so then after that, I was like you need to pray in tongues. Like that's gonna be your power for this type of thing you're going through. Well, your family members going through, like in order for you to like help your family member. And I also instructed her like a few other things that she needs to do. And after that, like I was like, but you need to pray in tongues. And I was like, do you know what tongues is? And I think she said, yeah. And then I said, do you know how to pray in tongues? And she said, no. And then I said, okay, like, we're going to ask God. Like, you're going to ask God, like, repeat after me. So I tell her what to say and things like that. She says everything that the Lord is leading me to say. And then after that, like, we talk a bit more. And then I say, okay, this is what you're going to do, yada, yada, yada. And then after that, like, we kind of separate. I go doing my own thing, and then I'm like talking to the Lord in my head, and the Lord's talking back to me. And like I was like, yeah, like she's gonna pray in tongues. And then the thought came to me, like, but she doesn't know how. And then I thought to myself, well, it's okay, because she asked for it, so God's gonna give it to her. And then I hear the Lord tell me, you need to go over there and you need to lay hands on her and pray. And so I lay hands on her, and I feel the presence of the living God. And we start praying. I'm like, okay, like, do you know what tongues sounds like? And so we start praying in tongues. Well, I start praying in tongues. And then I like am like letting her know, like, kind of like what it sounds like. I'm leading her and giving her an impartation. Like I said, I could feel the living God, and I'm praying what the Lord is telling me to pray, and I'm praying in the Spirit, and I can feel the living God as I'm like saying all of this. Like when I went over into her atmosphere, I could already feel the living God. And so after that, like, oh Jesus. So after that, like I'm like laying hands, we're praying, and as we're praying, I already know things are shifting. I can already feel it, like even just by like moving, like I know if I start moving my hands and all these things, like things are gonna start changing in the spiritual realm. Like that's how like in tune, or like how, like I want to say, like split the veil, like that's how like much of the spiritual realm I'm feeling. And so now we're praying, and then she starts praying in tongues, and she's praying in tongues, and we're praying together. And then I'm like, okay, good. Like, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this. This is the instruction. Like, do that. And I was like, and I'm gonna see you, girl, and you're gonna testify, right? And so she goes out and she's like praying in tongues, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, glory be to the living God, glory, glory, glory. Like, I just wanted to come on here and just say like, y'all, like, build your relationship with the living God. Like, he literally talks. He, like, as a Christian, like, that is our gift. Like, our gift is to hear his voice. Like, this is why he says, like, his sheep will not follow another. Like, his sheep know his voice, like, and will not follow a stranger. Like, the thing that separates us from the world is that we hear him. Go this way, or don't go that way. Do this, don't do that. Like, what keeps us is the fact that we hear him. Like, that's what favor is we hear him. Like, instead of like how the world has to go through things and figure things out and bump their heads and like go through all these things to figure things out, like, or like have a lot of these bad things kind of happen. It's like, we as Christian and being children of the living God through adoption, right? Through the Spirit, we get to hear him. And because we hear him, it cuts years off, it cuts decades off, it cuts time in half. Like, it advances us. If we are living like the world, then clearly we are not belonging to Jesus. We're not obedient. I mean, I'm not going to say we're not obedient because I'm obedient. But the thing is, it's like, if you aren't hearing him and you are struggling, it's because you're not obedient. It's because you have not spent time with him and made time with him to even hear his voice and to fully cultivate your relationship, to know that he's a safe place, to know that you can trust him and you can lay your life down for him. It's a process, you know. It feels like you're dying, but you are to live. Like, I think that's even something like Apostle Paul said, he's like, to die is to gain, like in Jesus Christ or something like that. I'm paraphrasing it, but if you Google just that much, you'll find the scripture. And so I just want to say, like, that is the gift. Like, and it's such a beautiful thing. Like, she's not the only one. I'm like, I'm about to interview myself, okay, and ask myself questions just so you guys can hear how real the living God is. Like, he still moves in miracles, signs, and wonders. Like, I see this all the time. Like, I see it all the time. Like, I get to be present for all of these miracle signs and wonders. Like, God is still alive and he's still moving just as powerful. You know, Jesus Christ literally says, like, he has to go to the Father, and he says, if you believe in the things that I do, you will do greater. And y'all, I've seen more than I deserve. But that's all I wanted to say, is and give God the glory of, like, my gosh, if we just obey, Christians, if you just obey, you could change so many people's lives through the living God, through surrender and yielding. My goodness, I just wanted to tell of God's goodness. Like, he literally gave her the gift of tongues. Like that, I was listening to her and you could see her excitement, which was so beautiful, because it's like, girl, you finna tear down whatever the devil think he doing, you know, because as soon as she told me that, the fire in me wanted to be like, let me go to this person, I'm finna cast these demons out. But, you know, it's all good. I said, I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm gonna tell you what to do. Because the Lord is instructing me to tell you this anyways. And he gonna use you, girlfriend, to go tear down them things in that bloodline. Alright? But anyways, that's all, y'all. I'm out. Bye.